The forest was shrouded in silence. It was a day when the gentle breeze swayed the tree branches. The sun filtered through the leaves, casting dancing shadows on the ground. An old man named Marcus was out on a peaceful walk with his young grandson, Bruno. Bruno was a baby, just learning to walk. He was only 11 months old and still wobbled as he tried to balance himself. As he walked, the crunch of fallen leaves beneath his tiny shoes brought out bursts of joyful laughter. Marcus, touched by the moment, reached into his pocket to grab his phone, hoping to capture this beautiful memory with a photo. But at that exact moment, a massive shadow swiftly descended from the sky. Before Marcus could comprehend what was happening, a giant eagle swooped down, seized little Bruno in its talons, and flew back up into the sky at lightning speed. Marcus's heart felt like it had stopped. "No, no!" he screamed, running after them. He tried to follow, but the eagle had already disappeared into the thick canopy of trees. This moment burned itself into Marcus's mind. Shock, helplessness, and rage collided inside him. An eagle took my grandson," he gasped, his voice trembling. Without a second thought, he turned around and sprinted back toward the village, his heart pounding in his chest. How could he possibly explain this to anyone? When Marcus reached the village, he was out of breath. He stumbled into the middle of the street and shouted at the top of his lungs, "An eagle took my grandson! Help me! An eagle took my grandson!" Villagers stepped out of their homes, peered from their windows, and watched him with confusion. At first, no one believed Marcus. Some of them thought he had gone mad. "An eagle can't kidnap a child," one of them said. "It's not a chicken, it's a baby," another mocked. But as they looked closer at Marcus, they saw the terror etched into his face. The panic in his voice was undeniable. Slowly, some of them started to believe him. "If he's this desperate, maybe it's true," one of them said. Bit by bit, the villagers gathered their weapons, grabbed their sticks, and prepared themselves for a search party. They all had one goal in mind: to find Bruno and bring him back home safely. The villagers moved through the forest, calling out as they walked. "Bruno! Where are you, son? Answer us, Bruno!" But the forest remained silent. Only the rustling leaves echoed in the distance. A sense of unease settled over the group. "What if it's too late?" someone whispered. Marcus's heart ached. Bruno should be crying, making some noise, anything. But there was nothing. "Maybe he's asleep," Marcus muttered to himself. "Maybe he's just too scared to make a sound." Just then, one of the villagers at the front of the group yelled out, "I see something! Over there!" All the villagers stopped and turned their heads in the direction the man was pointing. High up in a large tree, perched on a sturdy branch, was a massive eagle. And in its talons was Bruno. The baby dangled from the eagle's grip, his wide eyes scanning his surroundings. The villagers were stunned. No one dared to breathe. "What do we do?" one of the villagers asked. "We could shoot it." But that plan was far too risky. If they missed their shot, they could hit Bruno. Worse still, the eagle might get scared and drop him from such a great height. They all knew the risks, and fear gripped their hearts. Marcus never took his eyes off the eagle. "There has to be a way to get him down without hurting anyone," he said, thinking out loud. Just then, the sound of rustling came from the nearby bushes. The villagers turned toward it and saw a massive snake slithering toward them. Its body moved slowly but purposefully, and its eyes were locked on them. "Snake!" one of the villagers shouted. "Everyone be careful!" But at that very moment, something clicked in Marcus's mind. "That's why the eagle took Bruno," he said with wide eyes. "The eagle was protecting him from the snake." The villagers fell silent as realization struck them all at once. The eagle hadn't taken Bruno to hurt him. It had taken him to protect him from the snake. The predator had become a protector. Suddenly, a flash of recognition hit Marcus. This eagle looked familiar. His eyes squinted as he examined the scars on its wing. That's the eagle I saved," he said in disbelief. Years ago, Marcus had found an eagle caught in a hunter's trap. Its wing had been badly injured. Out of compassion, Marcus had freed it, treated its wounds, and fed it for 3 days. Once it had healed, Marcus released it back into the wild. Before it flew away, the eagle had turned back and stared at him with its piercing eyes as if saying, "Thank you." And now, here it was. The same eagle, the same scar. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. He whispered softly, "It's you, isn't it?" The eagle tilted its head toward Marcus as if nodding. Yes, it was him. The eagle slowly lowered Bruno toward the ground. Everyone held their breath. The entire forest felt frozen in time. Bruno's small feet finally touched the earth, and Marcus wasted no time. He scooped his grandson into his arms, holding him tightly. Tears streamed down his face. "Thank you," Marcus said, gazing directly at the eagle. "Thank you." The eagle paused for a moment, then spread its powerful wings. With a single graceful motion, it soared into the sky. The villagers watched in awe as it flew away, disappearing into the forest canopy. Marcus cradled Bruno in his arms and whispered, "We will never forget this, my boy. This wasn't just any eagle. This was a hero." The story of this moment spread throughout the village, becoming a legend told for generations. The villagers named the eagle the Hero Eagle. Marcus spent the rest of his life telling the story of how his grandson had been saved. He would always end with these words, "Kindness is never forgotten. Not by people, not by animals. Whatever you sow, you shall also reap."